It sits in the back of almost every pantry. It smells pungent. It tastes incredibly sour. For decades, people have claimed it is a biological miracle for everything from obesity to acid reflux. But is it? Or is it just another internet health trend with no basis in reality? The brutal truth is that most people drink apple cider vinegar completely wrong. They take it at the wrong time, or worse, they drink it undiluted. Doing this can silently destroy the enamel on your teeth and burn your esophagus. But if you use it correctly, specifically right before a meal, it acts as a powerful biochemical tool. It changes the way your body processes carbohydrates. It changes the pH of your stomach. It even alters the genetic expression of your liver. In this video, we are not going to talk about magic potions or blindly follow trends. We are going to talk about the molecular biology of acetic acid. We are going to break down exactly what happens to your blood sugar, your digestion, and your stored fat when you introduce this specific acid into your system 15 minutes before you eat. To understand apple cider vinegar, we first have to understand what happens when you eat. Imagine you're about to eat a large bowl of pasta or a heavy sandwich. That food is full of starch. Starch is essentially a long chain of sugar molecules held tightly together. When you swallow that food, your body has to break those chains apart to turn them into glucose so it can enter your bloodstream. To do this, your body uses an enzyme called alpha amylase. Think of alpha amylase as a pair of biological scissors. It snips the starch chains into simple sugar. Here is where the biochemical mechanism of acetic acid changes the game. When you drink apple cider vinegar before a meal, that acetic acid enters your digestive tract and acts as a temporary inhibitor of those scissors. It literally blocks the enzymes that break down starch. What does this mean for you? It means that even if you eat the pasta, your body cannot turn all of it into sugar. Some of that starch passes through your system undigested, acting like a physiological barrier and functioning as fiber. The result is a massive reduction in the glucose spike. Clinical research shows that taking vinegar before a high-carbohydrate meal can reduce the blood sugar response by up to 30%. That is a pharmaceutical-level effect from a simple kitchen ingredient. But that is just the blood sugar. The most immediate impact, the one you will feel within minutes, is in your stomach. Let us talk about acid reflux and bloating. This is perhaps the most misunderstood concept in modern medicine and a trap set by a billion-dollar industry. If you have heartburn, you are told you have too much acid, so you take an antacid. The industry refuses to tell you this because selling antacids is massive business. Biologically, this is often the exact opposite of the truth. Your stomach is designed to be an acid bath. It needs to have a pH between 1 and 3. This is incredibly acidic and strong enough to dissolve metal. This acid is necessary to activate an enzyme called pepsin, which breaks down protein. But the horrifying truth is, if your stomach acid is too weak, let us say a pH of 4 or 5, you cannot digest meat. The food just sits there. It rots. It ferments. This fermentation creates gas, and the gas creates pressure. Now, at the top of your stomach, there is a valve called the lower esophageal sphincter. This valve is pH sensitive. It is designed to snap shut when it detects strong acid. If your stomach acid is weak, the valve refuses to close. It stays slightly open, so the gas from the fermenting food pushes the acid up into your esophagus. That is heartburn. It is not caused by too much acid. It is caused by too little acid keeping the valve open. When you drink apple cider vinegar, you are introducing exogenous acid. You are lowering the pH of your stomach back to its optimal state. You are creating a biological reset. The sensor on the valve detects the acid and snaps shut. The heartburn stops instantly. The acid activates the pepsin, so the protein is digested properly. The bloating and gas disappear, Because the food is no longer fermenting. It is logical, mechanical plumbing, healing from the root. But it does not stop there. The true magic happens at the cellular level, right inside your liver. This brings us to the molecular level of fat storage, and this is where it gets absolutely fascinating. There is a metabolic pathway in your body called AMPK. You can think of AMPK as the biological fuel gauge of your cells. When AMPK is activated, your body senses a need for energy, so it switches directly into fat-burning mode. Acetic acid has been shown in clinical research to activate this exact AMPK pathway. When you drink apple cider vinegar, it travels to the liver and upregulates the genes responsible for fat oxidation. It sends a clear signal to the liver. Do not store fat right now. Burn it. At the same time, because you blunted the insulin spike from your meal earlier, your insulin levels drop significantly faster after eating. Remember the absolute rule of physiological biology. You cannot burn fat when insulin is high. By lowering the insulin response to your meal, apple cider vinegar keeps your fat-burning window open for much longer periods throughout the day. But here is the crazy part. You cannot just buy any cheap vinegar. If you walk into a grocery store and buy that crystal clear, perfectly filtered apple cider vinegar, you are making a massive mistake. That is just dead acid. What you actually need is the raw, unpasteurized version. If you look closely at a high-quality bottle, you will see a cloudy, cobweb-like substance floating at the bottom. That is called the mother. It is a dense colony of beneficial bacteria, probiotics, and living enzymes. It is essentially raw biological magic. When you consume the mother, you are directly feeding your gut microbiome. New clinical studies suggest that the acetic acid also acts as a potent antimicrobial agent. It acts as a biological cleaning machine. If you suffer from small intestinal bacterial overgrowth or candida yeast overgrowth, apple cider vinegar creates a hostile environment where those pathogens struggle to survive. It sanitizes the small intestine, allowing for a complete reset of your digestive system and better absorption of crucial nutrients like calcium and magnesium. Now, we need to address a persistent medical myth. There is a widespread belief that vinegar is bad for your kidneys. The flawed logic used by many is that because it is acidic, it must be damaging. But when vinegar is actually metabolized by your body, it has an incredibly powerful alkalizing effect on your urine. It forms bicarbonate. For people who are prone to kidney stones, specifically calcium oxalate stones, which are the most common type, apple cider vinegar can be highly beneficial. It naturally produces citrate, which actively prevents the microscopic crystals from sticking together to form stones. So biologically speaking, it is kidney protective, not kidney damaging, as long as your organs are currently functioning normally. Let us talk about the appetite suppression effect. Is it real? Yes, but the mechanism is not what you think. Part of it is that acetic acid physically slows down gastric emptying. This means food leaves your stomach at a much slower rate. Because the food stays in your stomach longer, you feel full for an extended period of time. This sends a direct signal to the brain via the vagus nerve that says, "We are full, so stop eating." This is why drinking it before the meal is an absolute necessity. It primes your satiety hormones so that when you do eat, you naturally consume less without ever feeling deprived. So what is the exact logical protocol? How do you get these miraculous results without the potential damage? Here is the golden standard. Take 1 tablespoon of raw apple cider vinegar with the mother and mix it into 8 to 10 ounces of water. And this is the most crucial step. You must use a straw. By using a straw, you completely bypass your teeth, protecting your enamel from the acid. Drink this mixture 10 to 15 minutes before your biggest meal of the day. Why before? Because you need the exogenous acid to be present in the stomach before the food arrives to properly prepare the digestive enzymes. Some people also ask if they can take it before bed. Yes, and here is why that is incredibly smart. This targets what we call the dawn phenomenon. Many people wake up with high blood sugar even if they have not eaten for 8 hours, because the liver dumps sugar into the blood while you sleep. Taking apple cider vinegar before bed helps dampen this liver response. But I must give you a harsh truth warning. Apple cider vinegar is not a magic eraser for a terrible diet. If you drink the vinegar and then eat a donut and a pizza, the vinegar cannot save you. It can reduce the spike, but it cannot stop the biochemical damage of processed junk food. Think of it as a force multiplier. If you are eating clean protein and vegetables, it multiplies your results. It makes your good habits work 10 times better. It is a biological tool, not a blind cure-all. Health is not about luck. It is about understanding the complex machine you live in. If you found value in this deep dive, share this video with someone who desperately suffers from heartburn or blood sugar issues. You might literally change their life. Subscribe to the channel to keep uncovering the truth about your biology, and comment below if you are going to start this protocol today. Stay curious, stay healthy, and trust the science.